Is it now the best time to get yourself a deal on a used Range Rover? In today's video, we're going to dive straight into the used Range Rover market, but more specifically, the 2018 to 2021 facelift model. Then what I'm going to do is find us some shocking examples of Range Rovers currently for sale on the market and look at how the depreciation has been over recent years and where the future values are going to go with this model. And at the end of the video, I will give you my personal choice on what Range Rover model you should go for, spec, mileage, age, to really get that sweet spot when you're trying to buy the right Range Rover. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. It's going to give you some great insight. Let's get on with the video. So let's start with the car market in general. Things have now settled down overall, but it is fair to say, especially on the top end luxury market, things are slowing down, prices are falling, and the demand is decreasing. A perfect example is this actual car. So I bought this, as many of you will remember, about 6 months ago. I paid 30 grand. I got it for trade price, maybe just a bit over because I wanted the car for myself. And in that video, I mentioned that this car was actually for sale with the same mileage at a main dealer about 9 months before I paid for it for £48,000. That is a heavy drop on a used car. But of course, that 48 was retail, I paid 30 towards the trade price. But I am gonna come on to some examples later on. But why such a big drop on this car? What are some of the things that caused this? COVID. I know we're past it, but we are still living with the financial impact that COVID had on the car market. Now, just a quick overview of what that meant for the car market. The supply was low due to a chip shortage. A lot of people were bored at home, not spending money going out. There was also a lot of money being thrown into people's pockets, which led to an abnormal level of high demand. With having that short supply, the prices, they just rocketed up. And now since then, we've had many factors impacting the market, meaning the prices started to correct themselves, but some of the prices have also started to fall. Now, specifically, when we talk about Range Rovers, some of the biggest factors affecting the prices of these cars are interest rates, insurance problems due to the theft concerns, a lot of bad press with reliability of these cars, and I guess an element of COVID money finishing had an impact because these cars are very popular, and as that money finishes, the demand will start to fall. So all of those things have now led to these cars falling in price quite dramatically in a short space of time. It isn't just one factor, there are multiple things causing that severe price drop. And as I mentioned, in this case with this car, I paid £30,000 for it at the auction, and the dealer was struggling to sell this for 48 9 months prior to that. So that is a big drop, and that is some of the reasons why that has happened. So now, does that mean you can bag yourself a really good deal on a Range Rover now? Pretty much, yeah. The car I'm driving now is a 2019 Range Rover Vogue, pretty nice spec, lovely color combination. It is in fantastic condition, one owner from new, full main dealer service history, and this car still retails at around £32,000. I've driven it a good few thousand miles, had it for 6 months, so in reality, I'm not losing out on any money. Now, there's two reasons why. Of course, I bought this car at trade price, but equally, even if I did pay retail money 6 months ago, I would not have lost a lot of money at all. This is because, in my opinion, we are starting to get to the bottom of that big heavy drop on the Range Rover market. Prices are starting to settle. The big drops have happened. That is why I've been able to get into a nice used Range Rover and not really lose a lot of money. But rather than me just keep referring to this car, let's find some examples on Auto Trader, have a look at how much they are now, and see if we can find the previously advertised prices so we can see the levels of depreciation over the recent years. So I'll just pull over now and we'll do that. So I've got 3 cars which I want to show you, all from main dealer. So we'll start with the cheapest, which is a Range Rover Vogue SE 2018 model. It's done 63,000 miles and it's priced at £32,500. Nice car, good price from a main dealer. It's got 2 owners, but let me show you how much this car was previously advertised for. So if we go on to this Total Car Check app, you can sometimes see the prices that this car was previously advertised. Now, in this case, you can see here, it's seen on 23rd of September 2024, which is there or thereabouts now, for £32,500, which I've just shown you. Now, if we just scroll down a little bit, you can see here that the car was priced on the 26th of November, that was the peak of the cost of this car, for £70,991. Yes, the car had done less mileage, it was on 25,400 miles, but when you think about that, that is only just under 3 years and around 38,000 miles, and the car has dropped in price by 38,500, and that is quite a significant amount of money to lose. If you think of it, just under 3 years, that's around £13,000 a year in depreciation. Just depreciation, no running costs, no maintenance, no fuel. That is a big drop, but let me show you the other two because things do get worse. Now, the next car I'm going to show you is the 2020 3-litre SDV6 Vogue. Again, very nice car, reasonable spec, 2 owners, pan roof, 22-inch alloys, 51,000 miles on the clock, and this is priced £1,200 below market at £36,349. Now again, let's go onto the app and see where this previously was priced at. Now let's compare the price of this Range Rover. So if we scroll down, we can see it was last seen for sale currently now at £36,349. And again, 3 years ago, in the peak of COVID, this car was priced at £75,699. Again, big difference in mileage. The car has driven 36,000 miles since then, but the drop this car has had is touching £40,000 in the space of 3 years. 40 grand in 3 years. That is a big drop to take on a car like this. But I want to show you the most shocking example I found of a car. This car took heavy depreciation without being driven in the space of 1 year. And the car in question is this Range Rover 5-litre V8 supercharged autobiography. So this is a top spec car, but because of that, it does limit its market and can become a bit of a niche car. As you can see, currently this car is priced at £37,995. It has got 56,000 miles from new, comes from a main dealer with the warranty. Now, let me show you where it gets really shocking. If we go now and check the price of this car, you can see it was last taxed on the 10th of July 2023. So that gives you an indication of this car being in trade for that period of time. And you can see here it was last seen on the 9th of August 2024 for £37,995, which is the price that we've just looked at and are aware of. Now, as I scroll down, you can see the price is increasing, but the mileage isn't changing. And the most expensive price this car was seen was on the 24th of July in 2023, so just over 1 year ago, for £54,995. This car has lost £18,000 in 12 months, not been driven, not been purchased, no mileage has changed on the car, and it has depreciated by £18,000. That is shocking, and I appreciate it is a more niche car being a 5-litre V8, but Range Rovers are still highly desirable, and to see a price drop like that is just shocking. So hopefully that gives you a good idea of the depreciation that these cars have had over the recent years. But what I want to do now is I want to get into where do I see the market going moving forward with these Range Rovers. So let's get into that. So where do I see the prices going with these cars? It's a luxury car, it's a depreciating asset. There's no secret to free motoring unless you're buying cars in the trade and buying them right, selling them at the right time. But for the general public, it can be more challenging buying the right car. However, assuming the economy in this country doesn't collapse and we don't have a catastrophe in this world, you can get yourself into a Range Rover and not actually lose a significant amount of money. So let me just explain that. If you were to buy yourself a 2019 Range Rover Vogue, sensible mileage, good history, good ownership, a bit like this car, I'm going to say, 60 odd thousand miles for £30,000, because you can pick up these cars for that sort of money. In my opinion, if you drive this car for 3 years, 10,000 miles a year, so you add 30,000 miles on the clock, I don't think this car is going to be worth less than 17,500 in 3 years. So if you were to buy it today for 30 grand and drive it for 3 years and put 30,000 miles, really you should lose around 12,500 over that period, which isn't too bad. Still getting yourself into a nice car, good mileage, drives very nice, but that is assuming things don't drastically change in the economy or we have another COVID situation. But that is just my opinion, and what backs that up is if you look at a car which is 3 years older than this, done 30,000 more miles, so we're looking at a 2016 model with just over 90,000 miles. If you go onto Auto Trader now, you can see that the prices of those start at around £20,000, and that is £20,000 from private sellers, non-franchise dealers. So that gives you a bit of an insight into where this car will be in 3 years. It's not an exact science. It doesn't always mean that a car which is 3 years older is going to be the same price as what your car will be in 3 years, because like I said, there are so many factors which impact prices. Interest rates, the economy, inflation, cost of living, so many things. But it gives you a nice idea of where this car should be in the next 3 years approximately. So if you get yourself into the right car, you shouldn't lose a crazy amount of money, but still expect to lose some money it is a luxury car, it is a depreciating asset. If you want to buy a car that's not going to lose money, you need to buy yourself a much older car, a bit like my L322 Range Rover, which I've got on the channel. So that is a car which I'm probably not going to lose any money on in the next 5 years if I was to keep it for that long. Now, to give you my recommendation on what car I would recommend you looking to buy, there are so many ways to look at it, and it does really come down to your budget, what you're comfortable with spending or losing value on a car. So I will give you my choice, but what I will say is have a look at the later cars as well. So the 2021 models where you get the newer engine, D300s and the D350s. Those are engines which are shared in the new Range Rover. So you're getting a lot of car for your money with that, but obviously it comes at a premium. But with those engines, I believe you only have to service them every 2 years. Whereas the 3-litre SDV6 engines that I have in here, they need to be serviced annually. So just something you can think about. But my recommendation on what I would go for is pretty much what I have got here. Get yourself a Vogue. It is the entry model, but they do come well equipped as standard. And there are many options people still tick on these cars, such as sliding panoramic roof, which in my opinion is a must option to have. They're well equipped cars, heated steering wheel, Meridian sound system, it's got a fridge in the center console, and they represent a lot of good value. So I would probably now look at a 2019 or a 2020 car, so it's not too old. Get yourself a car with under 60,000 miles. One owner would be ideal, and with Range Rovers you can find low owner cars. Stay away from high owner cars. You're putting yourself at more risk. You just won't have that same level of care that a one owner car would have, because if someone bought this car for 90 odd thousand pounds when it was new, they probably looked after it during their ownership, because it is a lot of money. So I would get yourself into a Vogue model, good spec, sliding panoramic roof, some nice wheels, but more importantly, one owner and comprehensive main dealer service history. Things like that will just put your mind at rest, and you're much more likely to have a better car, because Range Rovers can have their problems. There isn't a secret about it. I haven't experienced any major issues with my newer Range Rover models, but that is because I buy them well, low owners, good history, and it just eliminates a lot of that risk straight away. If your budget can stretch more, go for the autobiography. It's a no-brainer. You're going to get everything you need on the car. It's got all of the toys, massage seats, the full shebang. And don't get me wrong, I love an autobiography, very nice cars, but you don't necessarily need one of those. But if your budget can do it, of course, you'd go for that car. But by all means, don't feel that you need to. The Vogue in the right spec has everything you need from a car. So spend 30 grand, sub 60,000 miles, low owners, full service history, nice spec is what I'd recommend for the sweet spot on getting yourself a nice Range Rover and not having to deal with severe depreciation. I know it can be tricky, it can be scary, because there are a lot of horror stories you hear, but from my experience, they're fantastic cars. I haven't had any severe major issues, just general wear and tear and maintenance. Buy a good car, maintain it, drive it well, look after it, and you shouldn't have any major problems. So on that note, guys, I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much again for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe if you want to see more content on these Range Rovers, and I'm going to see you on the next one. Take care, guys.